Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 114. I am one of your hosts, Chris. Alongside, he makes lightning with his hands. It's Mike.
I wish, man, and especially after seeing Shazam. I loved it, and I believe there's a review. Or if there's not, I'll post a review. But first off, okay, hold on. Before anyone goes anywhere, before you get sick of listening to our dumb voices, we have a special guest on the show today that Chris got to talk to. Kind of atypical for our normal guests. He's a fellow podcaster. You probably know him from being in the show The League. Paul Scheer will be on the show today.
Yes, he will.
And what a fantastic gentleman he is. So,
yeah. Good guy, loves his comics. We talk a lot about that, and yeah, look forward to that. It'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, so we had to let you sit through like 3 weeks of just us talking about stupid shit, and then boom, Chris drops a nuke on you like Paul Scheer.
And the nukes are going to keep coming because next week is pretty good too.
Oh yeah, but we're not going to tell you about that. You got to stay tuned and find out like next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Anyways, we won't keep Paul Scheer waiting, but let's talk about news really quick. Housekeeping. Chris, do your spiel.
Oh yeah, if you want more great guests like Paul Scheer, you can support us in many different ways. One of them is patreon.com/FortressComicNews, where if you go there and just pledge $1, you could get my other podcast, the Bat Friends podcast, 3 days early. And also the Amazon links on our website. I don't know if you've heard of this website called Amazon, but you can buy like stuff on it. It's really cool. So click on our link. It doesn't cost you another single dime more. Buy whatever you want. Comics, whatever. Mountain Dew. Bulbasaur pop figures.
Yep. Bulbasaur pop figures. Weird Japanese snacks.
Yeah.
From across the ocean.
Then I can send Mike some money to help pay for things and stuff.
Maybe to advertise this, I'm going to look up the weirdest things you can buy on Amazon every episode.
I will make a promise. If people buy like super weird stuff, we will go into full detail about like the weirdest thing of the week. Yeah,
yeah. Anyways, so let's jump into the news. I actually thought this was going to happen anyways, and I was already assuming it. Umbrella Academy picked up for a second season.
Yeah, that's the shocker of the week, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, by all the great reception that it got when it came out. And Netflix is just like, I don't know how Netflix makes money, just from subscribers, obviously, but like, how many viewers is a bad amount of viewers for Netflix? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I would be curious to see what they expect out of subscriber counts or viewerships and all that.
Yeah,
it is strange because for what you get and what they pay for these things, Netflix is super cheap.
Yeah, it really is. And they just keep like every day there's like something new coming out. So there's a season finale for a show this week called Walking Dead.
Indeed, there was.
Did you watch it?
I did. So last week we talked about the heads and the pikes, the big reveal of who was dying. This was kind of an aftermath episode. So this was the Avengers End Game of The Walking Dead.
Wait, everybody turns to dust? What happened?
Sure. So we get to see it's a little bit of a flash forward where we're in the middle of winter, and we get to see how winter affects the communities and what happens.
Winter's coming.
We get a glimpse of Negan starting to become kind of a good guy, and where all the pieces are going to lie for next season. So it was a good episode, but it was definitely a aftermath / setup for next season. So.
Cool. You almost think they'd want to save the heads and the pike for the season finale.
I mean, we talked about it week after week, but I was convinced that was going to be the season finale.
Yeah, it's kind of weird pacing on their part, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm almost caught up on Doom Patrol. I just have to watch the most recent episode, but Flash wasn't new this week. Flash is doing this weird every other week thing now. Thought I wouldn't notice, but I did. And I I almost wonder if it's like because Shazam came out. I don't know. Who knows? But I watched the last week's Doom Patrol, and it was like called Therapy Patrol, and it was all about like we got their origin stories of each character, but then we were talking about like why each of the characters has issues, like why they're kind of like not fit to be heroes, or it was really cool. It made each of them more human because of their flaws. And like Brendan Fraser's character, Robot Man, goes a little crazy, and that at the end of the episode, it's really strange. You find out he he goes nuts. He has like a manic episode and starts breaking shit and freaking out, and like he like passes out, and then a rat crawls out of his mouth. And earlier in the episode, you think he's just going crazy, but like Mr. Nobody, who we know can like break the fourth wall and everything, finds this rat that like lives on the Doom Patrol grounds, and the rat starts talking to Mr. Nobody because he can understand rat apparently, and he like blames I guess the rat's wife or the rat's mother, I can't remember, gets killed, and he blames Mr. Robot or Robot Man, and so he wants to take vengeance on him, so he like crawls in to Robot Man while he's sleeping and then like messes with him. It was really weird. Like it was such like a great episode and very like heartfelt, and you know felt sorry for all these characters, and then like you find out he's just being like controlled by a rat. It was like classic Doom Patrol stuff.
Interesting.
The show's very weird. I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. Happy started back up. I haven't watched Happy yet, though. I think we're like 1 or 2 episodes in. Problem is, I don't know where to watch Happy. I don't know if I can buy the episodes on Prime or not. Yeah, so I know I said that for the last Avengers trailer, I wasn't going to watch any more Avengers trailers. But with the release, I hope everybody got their tickets, because like tickets are selling on eBay and stuff. I don't know if you saw that. It's pretty ridiculous.
I did, and it's hilarious because I got my tickets like 2
I got my
hours after they were released.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I got my one ticket for myself. I'm going Thursday night. It was like almost booked. And I think when I was buying them, I was sitting at my desk at work on my phone, and I was in like a 4-minute queue right away. Like I was in a queue for movie tickets. I was like, what is happening? It was almost like when Force Awakens first came out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, maybe I'm in a smaller town, not really all that close to any kind of metropolitan area, but it was super easy for me. Like, I went on the app, I bought the ticket, and that was that. I got a pretty decent seat, right in the middle, by the door, where I would want to be anyway. So, I don't know. It was very weird to see all the stories afterwards, but I figure maybe a lot of that's like people in New York City or, you know, any kind of big city area.
Major cities for sure. And this is kind of what I do for every one of the movies that I go to. So it's, I'm always opening day or for the sales. I'm always buying them ahead of time anyways. Yeah, so that trailer they dropped with it, not a whole lot of, there's nothing really spoiled still. I mean, it just gets you pumped for it.
But I think we get the most amount of new footage.
Yeah.
There's some hints in there, like Thanos is using what looks like the Bifrost, which is interesting. Yeah. And we get the Trinity together, and those are the 2 big things in it.
Yeah, we see like the Trinity confronting Thanos, but still, I don't know if the Russo brothers are committed to saying that. Still, that all the trailers are only the first 15 minutes of the movie.
I don't know. I know
they came out and said that. So
that was the case for the last few, and I know even some of the footage in the old or the last couple of trailers were from old movies. So we'll see, won't we?
Yep.
I'm super hyped for this movie, though.
Oh yeah, me too. I cannot wait. The Russo brothers are discussing what they want to do next already, and oh well, who knew? Secret Wars was that, right? I mean, come on.
It's one of the theories I threw out there where you can implement the Fantastic Four into the modern MCU, but the X-Men would be a little bit harder unless you do what I would like to do, which is some sort of Ultimate Universe X-Men, which is basically they don't have a gene. They were created by the government and implemented into everyday life.
Yeah.
But the thing I was hoping they were going to do is kind of create a separate X-Men universe and then bring it all together with a Secret Wars. So fingers crossed that this actually happens, because I would love to see a Secret Wars movie get made.
Are we gonna get an Infinite Crisis before DC ever gets like relatively close to that with their movies?
Yeah.
It's like they're so ahead of DC right now. It's crazy. So a nice little treat this week. Remember how much like distaste we had for this Joker movie? Well, at least I don't know about you, but I had like people had mentioned the Joker movie, and I was like, ugh, we didn't ask for this.
I was never a fan of the idea, but
right. But watching the trailer that dropped this week, dude, I'm there opening night. Like, I really liked it. I don't know about you.
So I was there opening night either way, but
okay.
For me, this trailer reeks of Oscar bait. Like it looks to me like something that DC's putting out because they want to legitimize their movies, and they just can't seem to break through with the mainstream Oscar crowd. And I just get that hint of it, but I'm hoping it's more than that.
I think for me it was more like this looks like an Elseworld story that we haven't seen, and
yeah,
it looks really creepy. And I totally wasn't sold on Joaquin Phoenix's Joker until he laughed. That laugh was like really creepy.
Yeah, and the outfit was I liked it. The face makeup with it was kind of interesting, especially for a new, like a first time Joker.
Right.
Yeah, and you could tell that it's definitely going to be a time period. Whatever they call it, period piece.
Yep.
Because there's hints of it being in like the 50s and 60s.
That's an early Bruce Wayne that he's like. There's a scene in the trailer where he's like making that kid smile with his hands. That he's casted as a young Bruce Wayne.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So he's at like Wayne Manor, and I think the guy talking about like Gotham going to shit. I'm pretty sure that's Thomas Wayne in it. But and then this brought something up with me too. Is like, how many different young Bruce Waynes have we had over the last, like, I don't know, if you look like 5 years between like the Gotham TV show, I don't know if he's appeared on CW at some point. I'm pretty sure he has. But then you have young Bruce Wayne in the Batman vs Superman movies. You have a young Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight trilogy series. It's like there's been so many young Bruce Waynes casted throughout the years.
So I'm going to plead with DC here. Don't do these things. Don't make the Joker kill Thomas and Martha. Please, don't do it.
Yeah.
And also, I really hope that we don't get full-blown Joker before Bruce is even old enough to be Batman. Because I always hated the idea that Joker exists before Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I like it better that Joker is a reaction to Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's the way it should be. That's my canon in my eyes. But yeah, so a young Bruce Wayne kind of worries me a little bit in that scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks. The trailer is really good. Keep in mind, this is from the director that did like the Hangover movies, so that blew me away.
Yeah.
Some of the shots and stuff, I'm like, is this the same guy that directed those movies? There's no way.
I'm picking it apart a little bit here, but I still think it looks cool, and I do want to go see it. So
I think this is the best way to do a Joker movie. I think like there's no reason to have him interacting with any other characters. Like I think the point of it is for us to feel bad for the Joker. This movie.
Yeah, I kind of
sympathize for him.
I just don't like. I believe it was '89 Batman that did Joker killing Thomas and Martha. It's been
you mean Jack Nicholson Batman or Jack Nicholson Joker? Yeah.
And I hate that idea. Like, you don't need to give us a reason for
Joe Chill to
be so hated.
Yeah, they actually gave him like an alias too.
Yeah, and I want. I want Joker to kind of like, I'm cool with him being a criminal and kind of building that empire before Batman, but like, don't go full blown Joker until there's a Batman around. That just that's what I want in my canon.
I don't think he. I mean, at least what I got from the trailer, I don't think you see him doing that. It's mostly him building up to that point.
Yeah, like that moment near the end of the trailer where he's actually in the costume and makeup and green hair.
Yeah,
that would be great as like a way to not really end the movie, but maybe like near the end where you're climaxing and Batman has at least been talked about in Gotham. That would be really cool. But
yeah. So another thing came up. I think the news just dropped last night that Idris Elba will still be in Suicide Squad, but I guess he's not going to be playing Deadshot. He's going to be it's going to focus on another character, which is fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah, it did something that I was asking for too, which is it's going to be called The Suicide Squad, and it's basically going to be a reboot.
Right.
The only thing I don't know about is how that affects Margot Robbie.
Yeah, it said she's still coming back. There's 3 characters coming back. It was her, the woman who plays Amanda Waller, and Jai Courtney is coming back.
Yeah, he finally announced that he's going to. Yeah. For a while there, he wasn't going to.
Right. Which I think that's fine. But yeah, if you were recasting Deadshot, it just gets confusing at that point, and I think WB probably didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. It was a weird choice to begin with, but
yeah. So we saw Shazam this week. Before I tell you my love review, I don't think we'll do are we gonna do a spoiler-free review here?
Yeah.
Okay. Me is 9 or over a 9 out of 10. My top 3 favorite comic book movie. There's a lot of good things that it did. We'll have a review up with spoilers that I won't talk about here, but I really liked it. It's a step in the right direction. I think for me, I'm just more excited that we had Aquaman and then Shazam in a row, and it seems like maybe third one's a charm, hopefully. I don't know, like 3 in a row, maybe I'll start having faith back in the DC universe, cinematic universe. I know I was laughing my ass off in the movie, and I think a couple of the people that went with me weren't necessarily going to go out of their way to see this movie, and they even told me, like, yeah, I really enjoyed it and laughed my ass off, even though this isn't something that I probably would have gone and seen on my own. So that was pretty nice to hear. And Zachary Levi is just the perfect person for that role. But anyways, what did you think?
So I really liked it. Probably not as much as you did, but
yeah.
I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It got a lot of things right. It did a lot of things I wanted it to. I wish it leaned heavier into the idea of it being big with superpowers. I thought it kind of strayed a lot away from that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there is a few scenes that are straight out of Big.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Right.
It's tough to go without spoiling, but some of the Easter eggs we see, I got excited for because I knew them. This isn't a spoiler, but the 7 Deadly Sins are one of the big villains.
Right.
My only gripe with them is I thought they were a little bit too horror-y, and that comes from somebody who wanted to take his kid to go see it, and now is kind of like thinking twice about it.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes where like those 7 Deadly Sins are like biting people's heads off, and I was like, huh. Yeah, I was like, wow, all right, then they just did it.
Yeah, it got a little real there for a minute, but I did enjoy the arc that they went through. I thought the Dr. Sivana was a great villain, and the big negative it has for me, and this is true of so many superhero movies now, is it's an origin movie, and origin movies just rub me the wrong way from moment one. So,
well, I mean, they can't just have a Shazam movie without an origin.
No, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I get that it had to be an origin movie, but for me, I was just sitting there. I'm like, okay. So
I know you wanted to get
about
his powers.
45 minutes in, I'm just like, all right, now we can tell the story.
Right. Yeah. And that was me too. Like I'm waiting for it to. I was like waiting for it to happen. I'm like, okay, I just like we only have like an hour, 15 minutes left of the movie, so please put him in a suit quick because like I want to get my money's worth out of this Shazam. I feel the same way, but
and this is a gripe I have with most DC movies, and not to go into the DC versus Marvel thing, but Marvel does it right and DC just does it way wrong, and that's trailers. The trailers gave away way too much about this movie and gave away way too much about the jokes in this movie. So all the like really great scenes you've probably seen going into the movie already. And I wish they didn't do that because, and this goes back to an old Marvel argument where they've built up the trust where they can do this kind of thing, but it just that would be my big complaint is a lot of the really great funny scenes are in those trailers, and so they're kind of when you got to them in the movie, it's like, oh yeah. And
yeah, they probably could have hit a lot of it, but there's some really cool moments. And as far as origins go, like it's a pretty cool origin. I mean, it's pretty depressing origin, and like it got real for a little bit there. It's like Billy Batson's an orphan, his that mother didn't want him, whatever.
Yeah,
and
I will say better than Captain Marvel.
So we could officially say the better Captain Marvel, right?
He's not Captain Marvel. He's Shazam.
Okay, well, it's Captain Sparkle Fingers. Yeah. So if you want a spoiler review, we could probably talk about it more next week, but we'll put up separate videos for that too. Okay. You watched a few more movies, I heard.
I did. So.
Wow.
I've actually been like super sick these past couple days.
Oh no!
But that gave me a lot of time to sit down and watch movies instead of working tons of overtime.
Yeah, there you go.
So I finally got around to watching The Dirt. It's an enjoyable movie if you're a Motley Crue fan. I don't recommend it to everybody.
I keep hearing that. Everybody comes up to me at work and they're like, "You gotta watch The Dirt," and I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." I'm not a huge Motley Crue fan though.
The only moments in it that I really dislike and wish they didn't do was they do some fourth wall breaking. So like it's based on the book. So Nikki Sixx does a lot of the actor who plays Nikki Sixx does a lot of the narrating for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. But then there's a moment where they meet their manager and they show it in the movie. And as somebody who read the book, I know that it wasn't accurate to the book, but they like stop the movie and then tell you the actual way and then get back to the movie. And I was just like, all right, moments like that you could have gotten rid of. You could have just done this as a straight movie, and right. I think it would have been a lot better. But that being said, I did really enjoy it. The second half of the movie gets super depressing because spoiler alerts for 30 years ago of history, but the lead singer's like daughter is like 10 years old. She dies of cancer, and you go through the whole thing with Nikki Sixx and his abuse of heroin, and so it gets really real fast. Yeah, but I did enjoy it.
That's a sad life for sure.
The other movie I watched was another Netflix original, which was The Highwaymen. Have you heard of this one?
What's that?
So this stars Michael Keaton and
Woody
Harrelson.
Oh.
And it is the other side of the Bonnie and Clyde story. So it's about the guys who were charged with hunting them down and killing them. The officers, they're ex-Texas Rangers. I really like this movie. Keaton and Woody Harrelson, like they have a great dynamic together. They're really just good.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the whole movie isn't really much about the actual hunting down and killing of them. It's about these two men and their history because they were partners forever as Texas Rangers. And this was during a time where a Texas Ranger was essentially a bounty hunter. And they get into a lot of what it means to actually kill a man and the kind of romanticizing of what they did and how it's affected these men throughout the years. And I also like that they get into some of the celebrity behind Bonnie and Clyde. How people were like all in love with them because they were robbing from banks during the Depression and everything. And there's one moment where somebody starts talking about it, and one of the characters goes, "You think they're such great people? They just shot a man in the face for $4 in a tank of gas. Does that sound like a good person to you?"
Right.
And it kind of brings back the idea, like, yeah, they were robbing banks and giving it back to people, but they were also doing some pretty heinous shit on top of that.
Oh yeah, they were killing people. Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely recommend anybody to watch that. Two great actors taking on a really cool story. So
Batman and Carnage team up.
Exactly, without the weird wig.
Without the red-haired wig. All right, we'll not take any more of your time, people. Let's cut to the interview, that wonderful interview Chris did with Paul Scheer, and we shall see you on the other side.
So everybody, welcome back to the show. Today I've got a comedian of one of my favorite shows of all time, The League, and of course, Marvel Comics writer extraordinaire, Mr. Paul Scheer. How's it going today, Paul?
Very good. I'm excited to be here.
So, Paul, tell me, what was your first introduction in the comics? Like, how did you get into it?
I kind of got into comics in two steps. When I was a kid, I was much more of a DC fan. I grew up more on the, Batman and Superman comics, and I love them. And I think my first foray into Marvel was a little bit weird. It was actually through the Star Wars comics, because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan, like, to feel like these adventures continued in comic books, or even that you could relive them in comic books, was amazing to me. So I had like all the Star Wars comics. I had like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom comic book. And that was like kind of my, before there were, DVDs and, before you could like make or buy VHSs for really cheap, that was like my best way to kind of connect with these like movies that I loved. And then I kind of put that away. I just didn't go back to it. There wasn't anybody in my school who read comics. I didn't have a comic book shop in my town. And I really got back into comics when I was in college. My friend kind of turned me on to this book, Astro City, and it just blew my mind. I was like, whoa, this is so amazing. And that just started to open up this door for me where I would, I found Ed Brubaker, and I found like classic kind of fun Marvel things like Damage Control, and, got into some of the classic arcs, of these characters. So I kind of have been doing a lot of, what is popular now, and then going backwards a little bit as well. And now as there's more and more apps like Comixology and, the big Marvel app, you can kind of really enjoy everything. I just did a movie with Reggie Hudlin, and I'd never read his runs of Black Panther. And I was like, I gotta read these, and just like kind of devour them. So I'm kind of moving forward and backward at the same time in my comic book love.
Now, with more people in Hollywood, actors, comedians, jumping into comics, what do you think is making that push for people in your stature to go and kind of write a comic book?
For me, it was something that just seemed like a great way to use the tools that I have. I'm a writer and an actor and a director, so I could basically use those tools to tell a bigger story. The way I got into writing my first book, Aliens versus Parker, was based on a script that I wrote. A script that I wrote that would not be able to get made because it was so expensive. And so when I met Ross Ritchie over at Boom, he was like, why don't you just write it as a comic book? And the thought never really dawned on me. So Nick Giovannetti and I, who I've written all my Marvel books with and Alien vs. Parker with, we just started tackling this idea of doing a comic book, and then kind of falling in love with it. And now when Jerry Duggan came to us to write our first Deadpool book, it was like, oh my gosh, we get to play with these Marvel characters. It just seemed unattainable. Like, it didn't seem like something that people did, or that you could get into casually. So we got really lucky, working with people like Jordan White, who was our first kind of editor at Marvel, and then Katie Kubrick, who also like helped us at Marvel. Like, all these people like allowed us to get in, get a foot in the door. And not until Cosmic Ghost Rider was when we kind of jumped in and did a full series. We just couldn't find a character that we wanted to commit to for more than a one-off. But they would let us write. they were kind of giving us bottom of the tier, bottom of the, the totem pole kind of choices about characters we could do, and they weren't really exciting to us until they kind of presented this option.
So, backing up a little bit, you've done all of your comic work with Nick Giovanetti. How did you two get together and start writing?
Nick and I met up in New York. We both had similar ideas for an animated show, and our animated show was kind of like a fun version of a G.I. Joe show, and that kind of morphed and kept on developing, and so we just started to become writing partners. And as a matter of fact, we did a pilot for Adult Swim, I believe last year, called Bad Guys. You can watch it on the online. It's up online on the Adult Swim site, but it's basically like what happens now to G.I. Joe villains now that there are bigger threats in the world. What do they do with their bigger dumb plans? And they basically work out of an abandoned blockbuster and try to get back in the game of being evil. So that was a really fun kind of thing. So Nick and I have always kind of really worked in the animated space together. And so I put comics in the animated space. But so we've just been kind of we just like-minded people. And Nick comes from a background of working at Rockstar Games and doing, Far Cry and all these other, really cool video game work. So we just kind of now do a bunch of different projects together.
Awesome. So after Aliens vs. Parker, you jump into Marvel and you end up doing a bunch of just kind of one-shot stories. So was that something that you guys wanted to do, or was that kind of we just wanted to get our foot in the door and this is what they offered us?
Well, so when Jerry brought us in, it was to do the annual of Deadpool, and that was something that we were really excited about. We're like, oh my god, this is great, so it was just presented as like an annual, so we could write a one-off and kind of bring back these characters, Brute Force, which everyone was kind of excited about at Marvel, and we were excited about too, to kind of reinvent them. And I said, if you ever have an idea for a series, like, let us know. And they kind of offered us a couple characters that I don't think that we just connected to, and then they came back and they offered us like, I think a Guardians team up or a Spider-Man and Deadpool book. I can't remember what came next. And, so we were very happy and kind of content to just do one-offs. We felt like for us and the amount of work that we were doing in outside projects, it was a great way to kind of keep our toe in the water, but also continue to, to write books.
So then how does Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroying Marvel History come about? Was that your idea, or was that something they brought to you?
No, they brought it to us. I think that they thought that, we had a good sense of humor from the books that we had done, and, and they felt like, we could kind of mesh with what Donnie was doing. I think, Cosmic Ghost Rider is this kind of like nihilist, kind of character that mixes like some humor with some pathos, and, we were something that we really just liked. I mean, I loved that run of that character when he was introduced, and so we kind of jumped at the chance. And, we had a little bit of a mandate from Marvel, which was, we really wanted to celebrate, or they really wanted us to celebrate the 80-year history of Marvel. I think if you see what's going on in Marvel right now, you'll see like it's a lot about saluting everything that's come before it. So they felt like because Ghost Rider had this amazing, thing kind of handed to him, like he's, sent back to the beginning of time and he has to catch up until now, what better way to kind of examine Marvel history than to see what he did on this kind of living through time once more time, So that was it was a kind of an organic pairing of what they wanted to do, where the character was, and then we kind of came in and wanted to kind of add some weight on it. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions of the book is that this stuff didn't happen. I think, the better way to look at it for the reader is, I don't think that the stuff didn't. I would say that the better way to look at it is saying, yeah, Ghost Rider might be an unreliable narrator, but he's not making all of this up. And, we do a lot of moments like that where he's kind of telling one part of the story and then we're visually seeing another part of the story. So, I think it's up to the reader to kind of determine what actually has happened. I mean, right now we essentially retcon the Clone Wars in our last Spider-Man book. So, that could be, part of Marvel history now, this new second wave of it. So we're trying to have fun with that too.
So yeah, is that part of what you guys have planned? Is for each issue to be a different character and to kind of go through their timeline with Cosmic Ghost Rider?
Yeah, essentially the first book is Fantastic Four, the second book is Spider-Man, the third book is X-Men, and then we go into a little bit of Cap and Nick Fury, and then we're kind of wrapping up on the Avengers, and then our sixth book is I don't want to spoil anything, but our sixth book is a little less linear than the other ones.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody, you can get the first two issues are out today. You can get them at your local comic book shop or Comixology. And I believe the next issue is coming out next month sometime.
Exactly. Yeah, once a month for 6 months.
Yep.
So we got 4 more months.
So then, real quick, I'm going to jump into. You also do a podcast as well called "How Did This Get Made?"
Yep, that and Unspooled. Yeah.
Yep. So I know "How Did This Get Made?" Really funny, a little bit educational as well. So everybody, make sure you check that out. But if everybody wanted to check out everything you're doing, where's the best place for everybody to go?
You could definitely follow me on any kind of social media platform. I'm just Paul Scheer. And, definitely check out this show that I'm doing on Showtime right now called Black Monday with Don Cheadle and Regina Hall and Andrew Rannells. You can watch it all on demand, and the first couple of episodes are free on YouTube. So it's Black Monday. So, yeah, definitely. That's what I would recommend.
Cool. So everybody make sure to go check that out. And Paul, thanks again for taking some time out of your day. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And we're back.
Wow. All right. Cool, man.
Paul is such a nice guy. You don't get to hear it before the interview, but he was literally... I think he was late for the interview by like 15, 20 minutes, and he was just apologizing to me like crazy, but...
Oh, that's fine.
When he told me, he's like, yeah, I'm with my kid today. It's my day with him. I was like, oh, you don't have to apologize for anything, man. Like...
Wow.
But yeah, it was a great interview. I was going nuts afterwards after talking to him. It was a lot of fun.
That's so cool, man. I'm glad you got to do that. It's not why we started the podcast at all, just to talk to cool people like that. But who would have thought, man? It's crazy to put this in perspective, right? We started this 2 years ago?
Almost 3 now.
Almost 3 years ago, man. We're podcast experts, I guess. And here we are now. Look at me with my fancy banners, and Chris with doing all the work and getting cool people on the show. Awesome. All right. Well, let's cut to the comic news. What do you think about that?
I guess if we have to.
All right. Jim Lee's returning to Image for a 300th issue. Oh wow! I just got a list. 300th issue. That is so hard to say. 300th issue. 300th issue. Yeah, it's really hard to say, right? Everybody try to say that right now. 300th issue for Spawn, which is crazy. It's crazy that Spawn is on its 300th issue that they're keeping track of. And it is the longest running Image book. It has to be. And the fact that Jim Lee's returning, I'm so curious to see, because Jim Lee's art style has definitely changed over the years. I'm so curious to see how he draws Spawn now. Right?
Yeah, it's cool that DC allows someone like Jim Lee to do this. Yeah,
he just he just does whatever he wants, man.
Yeah, but it is cool. It's fitting. This anyone who doesn't know, Jim Lee was one of the original creators of Image Comics, and good for him. I'd be interested to check out the issue just to see if it's more of like a Detective 1000 style issue, or if it's more of a Batman 50 issue. You know what I mean? Like, is it little stories with different creators, or is it one intergoing story with a bunch of really great artists?
Yeah. That's a good point. I'd like to know as well. It's just cool he still has that relationship over in Image.
Yeah.
Cool to see that. Eric Larson is making a short return to Marvel for the 80th anniversary. So what do you think he's going to be doing? Some Hulk stuff?
Probably some Spider-Man stuff.
Spider-Man stuff? Yeah, I don't know. Well, 80th anniversary of what?
Just Marvel in general.
Marvel in general?
We're going through the 80th anniversary right now. So that's Paul and I in the interview talk about it. Was the impetus of the Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys
Right.
Marvel History, was kind of celebrate Marvel history for the 80th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the other things they're doing right now. I know you're not a huge Marvel guy, so
Yeah.
But yeah, so I assume he's going to do some Spider-Man stuff because that's really what he's known for. And he said it was like a total of 40 pages and a couple of covers.
Mhm.
So it's not a big thing, but it's just cool to see Eric Larson come back because he's just been kind of in a hole drawing Savage Dragon ever since he left. So I really do enjoy his work, so I'd be interested to see what he's doing over there in particular.
Awesome. So let's talk about what we read this week. We're going to save Heroes in Crisis for the end of the episode, so we won't spoil it for anyone. I read a new series this week. New Image book, a new Image #1 called Section Zero.
Oh, how was that?
It was pretty good. So if I had it's a team up book. Basically, this Section Zero was created as part of the government to combat other beings such as Bigfoot and Loch Ness. It's kind of almost like an Area 51 team. And the beginning of the story, we find some of the group of people acquiring a new member. It's a guy who can transform into a bug for 24 hours. They're kind of strange powers. One of the guys has a ninja lightsaber, a ninja sword lightsaber, which is awesome. So I was immediately sold. But if I had to talk about the tone of the book, I would say more of a Challengers of the Unknown style team book, or almost it seems like an exploration, the Doc Savage style. It almost feels like a 50s, 60s team up book. I don't know, that Bronze Age style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. It was a great first issue. They've been alerted that there's a beast, some type of it almost looks like a creature from the Black Lagoon that's been terrorizing an area. So they go to find him, and there's going to be a conflict between two groups of people looking for this person. So it was a good first issue. I really liked it. I recommend it. Image has always got some cool stuff coming out.
Do you see yourself continuing to read it?
Yeah, I might check out a few more issues, I think. Just because I want to see him use that laser sword. Green Lantern #6, The Green Lantern. Pretty crazy issue. Did you read it?
No, I dropped off Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. So last issue we had Hal Jordan had to join. To go undercover. He had to kill Adam Strange, and basically he duels him, and he makes it look like he's dead, but Adam Strange isn't exactly dead. Well, one thing leads to another. There's a bomb going off on Ron, the planet Ron, and if the bomb will basically wipe everything out of existence. So Hal Jordan sacrifices himself to stop the bomb. In doing so, he ends up in this afterlife area that we see him at the very beginning of the story. So it kind of rounds out, and we come full circle of why he's there, because he sacrificed himself. And then he gets greeted by Mir Wyden. I've never heard of this character. He's a very strange character. He's almost he almost reminds me of the Grim Reaper, at the gates of hell or something that he's been talking to. And so Hal Jordan's going to continue on into the Emerald Sands, I guess. It's almost like an afterlife. I don't know if it's afterlife for Green Lanterns or something, but they flash to the planet Ron, and they're kind of celebrating Hal Jordan, how he sacrificed himself. And so I guess we're in real time now. That was kind of a flashback of why he ended up there, but it's still a good book. I mean, it's really good. The art, Liam Sharp's art, is just amazing. Justice League 21, some crazy stuff going on, huh?
Oh, I forgot to read that.
Oh, did not read it. Well, let me tell you. The last issue, we remember old old style Superman had trapped our Superman, our Earth Superman. So basically, he leaves him there, and he goes back and he confronts the League. And if you remember, when they talk about the dawn of the universe, they talk about Perpetua and then her like brothers or her like helpers to make the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the old Superman basically reveals that he's the World Forger, and he was there at the dawn of the multiverse and stuff. And basically, he's saying the way you're handling Perpetua is all wrong. You guys you guys are ruining everything. You broke the source wall. You guys are screwing up really bad. The area that they're in seems like it's a paradise, because what they've done is they know the future and they know the info of like there's going to be a big fight at the end of the universe, and there's going to be a lot of people fighting them along the way. So what they do is they go through time, or they go ahead of time and capture every villain that could ever like combat them. So what they find is like there's this prison on Apocalypse with every like Justice League villain. And that's how they basically create a paradise. So they're like, wait, you want us to go lock up people before they commit crimes and all this? So there's like this, this big like ethics thing. So the league kind of decides that we're still not gonna go through with this, even if it means paradise for us. And so they get sent to that's where they find this prison on Apocalypse, and they get confronted with like these super soldiers, and the super soldiers are led by Lois Lane. So the Lois Lane of the sixth dimension is like leading these crazy like armored super soldiers. Pretty cool. Another part of the issue, though, we're still dealing with Mixoplex, giant Mixoplex. And instead of creating everything in the issue, the longer he's there, he's unimagining everything in existence. So like everything's disappearing. And it's there's a really cool page where like there's a giant Mixoplex hitting buildings, and there's like the page transitions to like an unfinished comic book page with like a pencil aimed at it. So there's a little bit of fourth wall breaking, but it's like we all know he bends dimension, or he's from the fifth dimension, and it was just there's a really cool page of like he's destroying everything out of existence, so he's like erasing the pages almost. It's really cool. It was a great issue. The next issue is probably going to pick up of why Lois Lane is a super soldier. But yeah, this is exactly where we wanted this book to go, and I'm very excited. And that's pretty much it for me. I've been reading the DC Comics app has a really good Shazam story arc on there right now. I've been reading through that, and I've also been reading Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol on the DC app, because there's so many comics on there, and I need to start powering through all of those.
Does the DC app have trials of Shazam?
Yes, that's what I'm reading right now, I believe.
It is?
Yes.
That is my favorite Shazam story.
It is. I'll tell you. While you talk about your comics, I'll look it up.
Alrighty. So first I've got Captain America number 9. Cap's in jail, and the warden of the jail is Von Strucker. So we got a group that wants to get inside the jail and free Cap. And this issue is a lot of dealing with how people feel about Cap, how Von Strucker is really manipulating media, and some of the things that Cap's doing to turn everyone against him. Meanwhile, we've got this group trying to clear his name because he did not kill Thunderbolt Ross. We actually know what this person called the Foreigner did. It was a decent story, but I look forward to him getting out of jail and getting past the storyline, to be honest. But the Adam Kubert art is fantastic.
Yeah, that guy can draw.
Yeah. Conan the Barbarian number 5. This is a Conan on the Seas story, so it's Conan as a pirate. And it was a lot of fun. It dealt with a lot of things that you would want out of a pirate Conan storyline. And it even involved him jumping onto another boat, killing almost half the people, and then everybody else surrendering and be like, you can be our captain now.
That's awesome.
So,
Swashbuckling Conan.
Rocco's Modern Afterlife.
Oh, what?
So this is Rocco and zombies.
Written by?
Not who you think. Anthony Birch.
Okay.
So basically, it's a what's the movie? It's a version of zombies where they want brains. So they're going around running brains and shit like that. And everybody's kind of stuck inside their house because they don't want to leave. And Heifer becomes a video game streamer during the zombie apocalypse. It was a lot of fun, and it kind of dealt with a lot of issues involving like technology, and that's kind of the impetus of what started the apocalypse, is people were slowly starting to rot their brains with their cell phones. And it got really interesting. I love Rocco's Modern Life, so
it's pretty accurate. We're all just zombies today, anyways. So.
Yeah. The Realm number 12. Whenever I talk about this book, I have to get more people reading it. It's so good. But we get our group trying to get to a dealer's house, and on the way they run into a bunch of harpies. Oh no! And have to fight them. And meanwhile, the Red Queen is still infecting people and starting to build her army. It's just such a great book. I mean, it's early Walking Dead except D&D. So, what if Dungeons and Dragons universe kind of invaded us and started a post-apocalyptic world? Speaking of Walking Dead, I got Walking Dead 190. So we get kind of this moment where Herd comes into the Commonwealth, and Rick has to help everybody get into their houses, and how to kind of wait out these herds because they'd never dealt with it before. Meanwhile, Maggie and her crew come along and end up getting the herd out of town and moving them. And the governor of this town takes that as an act of war, because she comes back into town and just sees Rick and a essentially army of people coming into her town. So we're gonna get some sort of war again.
Oh boy!
But the big book this week was The War of the Realms, issue number 1.
The better war this week.
So we get 2 huge deaths in this story. So right off the bat, so one, if you haven't read War of the Realms number 1, spoilers, fast forward a little bit. And I'm going to start talking now. So, one, we start off the story with Odin being executed.
Man, Odin always gets the shit end of this thing.
Well, Odin's been kind of a dick, so...
Okay. He deserves it, then.
Yeah. And then we get we get Loki coming back and meeting up with Thor, and him kind of warning him that the war is coming. And we learn that it's not actually Loki. It's Malekith the whole time. So... Loki brings Thor to Malekith, unknowns to Thor that Malekith is Loki, comic books, and he takes Thor to Jotunheim with the Frost Giants. And so now Thor's kind of stuck in Jotunheim fighting a bunch of Frost Giants. And while this is going on, they start to invade Earth. So you get trolls and angels, and all the different 10 realms have brought something to fight against Earth.
Nice.
And all the different heroes are showing up. It's a lot of fun. And then at the end of the issue, we get Loki's father, not Odin, his actual father, the Frost Giant. And Loki kind of confronts him and tells him, like, this is not what I wanted. I was trying to stop this. And we end the issue with Loki being bitten in half by a frost giant. So it starts off with a bang. I really loved it. I don't know if I could recommend it to anyone, though. It's kind of much like Secret Empire was for me. It's a continuation of the Thor story that I've been reading now for 7 years. So I wonder how easy it'd be for a newcomer to jump into it.
Yeah, like me, I'd be like, wow,
yeah,
what is happening?
And
I would be like,
I felt the same way about Secret Empire, where Secret Empire was built up over 4 years of Captain America stories. This is built up of 7 years of Thor stories.
I tried to read Secret Empire, but it lost me.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. If you're reading Thor, you're probably reading this book anyways. But if nothing else, maybe the body count will get you into it. I absolutely loved it.
I would open it up and be like, "Oh, Odin! I know that character." Then they kill him. I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. And then I've got a review book.
Oh,
so Port of Earth #9. It's gonna be coming out not this coming week when you're listening to this, but the following, so April 17th. Issue 9's coming out. It took a little bit of a hiatus. Now it's coming back, kind of like Saga does. And this issue is a really good jumping on point because it gives you a quick backlog of what happened and where the port came from and so on and so forth, and then jumps right into the story. And I've already enjoying this story more than the first arc, and I absolutely love the first arc. So the aliens are now mingling more with Earth politics and trying to do things to help us out. And we also get a group of people in this that are starting kind of an anti-alien organization and doing some not so great things. Port of Earth is a great book. Definitely check it out. You should be able to get the first 2 trades right now, and then you have a couple weeks to read them before the next issue comes out.
cool.
All the books I had. So, Mike.
All right.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Find me at Fortress Ricker. Where can they find you and or the show?
Well, they can find me at Fortress Chris. And you can find the show at FCN_official on Twitter. Or FortressComicNews.com, where everything we do is right there on that handy-dandy website. Make sure if you're listening to us to give us a thumbs up down below. I'm sorry, if you're watching us, give us a thumbs up down below. Comment and subscribe to the channel. And if you are listening to us, to give us a review on iTunes or any other podcast service you use. So everybody who's not sticking around for Heroes in Crisis talk, we bid you adieu.
Bye-bye. Now Heroes in Crisis #7 talk. Woo! Yeah, so it's funny I'm on this website that compiles all the reviews for this book, and it's like 50-50. Like some people are giving it 4s out of 10, some people are getting it like 9 out of 10. The 4 out of 10s are like, can we just get to the last issue, please? What happens in this issue? Basically, it sets us up for maybe we'll get the big reveal next issue, I guess. Hopefully. Okay, well, the first, I guess the biggest thing from the book was Poison Ivy's back, right?
Yeah, so Wally's able to bring Poison Ivy back with the Speed Force. That's a big thing there.
That was pretty crazy. So I guess not only is the Speed Force OP, and now it's even more overpowered. It brings her back to life somehow. I don't know if it has to. Maybe it has to do with something with time. I'm not sure.
Or the fact that she's a plant-based hero. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but
if she was like one with the green, kind of like Swamp Thing. Yeah, and then there's a big fight between. There's a fight between Harley Quinn and Booster, and Booster has his force field, and Ted and Batgirl are kind of talking while they're fighting. And then Booster kind of starts talking about that's not the right Wally West, or it's not their Wally West.
Yeah, so he talks about the whole fact that it's a time to displace Wally West that died.
Yeah.
So all in all, for me, I kind of agree with the people that are not liking this as much. I really think that I've been high on this book since issue 1, and
I know.
I'm starting to get to the point where I feel like we could have cut out the 2 filler issues that weren't originally supposed to be part of it. They were supposed to be like one-shots.
Yeah.
And now this issue kind of seems like it could have been a couple pages. It didn't have to be a whole issue.
Yep. I
feel like Tom King's starting to get into filler territory. So next issue better be a big reveal of some sort,
right?
And not just Booster and Harley fighting and trying to figure out what to do.
You know, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm not very excited for event books anymore. I might be at the point where like when an event book happens, I might just have to wait it out. And it sucks, but I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this to it. I mean, it feels like almost the last 3 issues they've been saying, okay, well, Wally West is not from this time. He's time displaced. Okay. Harley and Booster didn't do it, but they think each other did it. And then like Superman and Batman are just like, oh, we still don't know who did it. Like, it's pretty much the last 3 issues.
Yeah. But I mean, I still am a sucker for event books. I mean, obviously Marvel event books I'm really big on.
Right.
And I do try all the DC event books, but this is the first one in a while that I can say that, oh, I guess Doomsday Clock, but...
Yeah, Doomsday Clock got really good, though.
So, not to shit on DC, but the past 2 event books have kind of done this to me where I'm not as excited. Now, Doomsday Clock turned it around real quick.
Yep.
And hopefully... I mean, this is only 1 issue that I'm really down on. I mean, like I said, you can cut some of the issues, but I have enjoyed the series so far, so... Maybe I'm being a little dramatic on how much I didn't like it, but
yeah,
I kind of want him to get to the point in the next issue.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not like Dark Knight's Metal where there's like every issue is just like a new Batman.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like 4 to 6 issues it seems like the perfect amount. And I actually should check out how much War of the Realms is going to be that we talked about earlier, but that seems like the perfect spacing. Like 6 issues tends to be the limit for me where I really can stick with a story. Mm-hmm. Especially a big event book like this.
Yeah. So not a whole lot to spoil besides Poison Ivy's back.
Poison Ivy's back and Wally West might die next issue officially.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
Possibly.
All right, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you next week.
Bye.